Before the story begins, please comment below where you're watching from. Don't forget to like and subscribe so Stories with Meaning can continue bringing you powerful stories like this. The warm aroma of coffee and fresh pastries filled the air inside a small cafe in downtown Seattle, sharply contrasting with the steady rain tapping against the window. Emily Carter stirred her latte slowly, her eyes glowing as she looked at the man sitting across from her. Daniel Moore, the man who had been her strongest pillar for the past 2 years, was busy scrolling through a catering vendor list on his tablet. "I think we should take the gold package, Em," Daniel said without looking up. "The menu is more varied, and they even have a roast lamb station, your favorite." Emily smiled faintly. Her chest tightened with emotion. "That's expensive," she replied softly. "I do have savings, but I don't want us to spend everything on the wedding. We'll need emergency funds after we're married." Daniel put the tablet down and reached for her hand across the table. His gaze was calm, firm, reassuring. "Love, you've worked your whole life. You supported your mom, paid for Lily's college, even renovated the house. Just this once, let me spoil you. I want our wedding day to be perfect. You deserve it." Emily swallowed hard. Since her father passed away 5 years ago, she had become the head of the family. She worked at a logistics company, often staying late into the night just to make sure the household bills were paid and that Lily, her younger sister, 5 years her junior, lived comfortably. Emily was used to giving, not receiving. "Thank you," she whispered. "I'm just afraid Mom and Lily won't be ready to let me go." Daniel exhaled slowly. He knew that burden too well. "They have to be ready. Lily is 21, already graduated, even if she refuses to look for a job. Your mom is still healthy. After we marry, we'll live at my place. You can still send money, but you can't keep being their shield forever, Emily." Her phone buzzed. A message from Lily. "Sis, what time are you coming home? I'm starving. There's nothing good to eat. Bring pizza, large, and ask Daniel for money so I can buy skincare. I'm out." Emily's chest tightened. No, "Are you tired?" No, "How's the wedding prep?" Only demands. Always demands. Daniel noticed her expression change. Emily nodded weakly and put the phone away. "Don't buy her anything," Daniel said firmly. "There's rice and eggs at home, right? Let her cook. You're not her servant." "Yes, I'll tell her," Emily replied, though deep down she knew she'd probably still stop by a bakery. The habit of spoiling Lily, fueled by the guilt her mother had planted in her for years, ran too deep. That night, Daniel drove Emily home. At the gate of the house, its peeling paint disguised by greenery made possible through Emily's renovation money, Daniel gently held her arm. "2 more months," he said softly. "Hang on. After the wedding, we come first." Emily nodded, warmth spreading through her chest. She believed her future was bright. She didn't know that behind that front door, a storm was waiting. Emily entered the house carefully. It was 9 p.m. The living room was dim, lit only by the television. Her mother, Margaret Carter, sat stiffly on the couch. Beside her, Lily lay face down, shoulders shaking violently with sobs. Emily's heart dropped. "Mom? Lily? What's wrong?" Emily dropped her bag and rushed over, reaching for Lily's shoulder. Lily slapped her hand away. "Don't touch me," she screamed hoarsely. Emily froze and looked at her mother. "Mom, what's going on? She texted me this afternoon asking for pizza." Margaret's eyes held a strange mix of pity and demand. "Sit down. There's something we need to talk about." Emily sat on the rug at her mother's feet, dread creeping up her spine. Margaret stroked Lily's hair gently, her tone far softer than it had been with Emily. "Go on, talk to your sister." Lily lifted her face. Her eyes were swollen, her nose red. She looked broken, yet there was something else there. Obsession. "Sis," Lily's voice trembled, "you love me, right?" "Of course I do," Emily said, panic rising. "What's wrong?" "If you love me," Lily whispered, "you won't marry Daniel." Emily felt like she'd been struck by lightning. "What?" she laughed nervously. "Are you delirious? Did Daniel hurt you?" "No, Daniel is perfect. That's the problem." Emily's blood ran cold. "I love him," Lily said. Silence crashed over the room. "You're joking," Emily whispered. "He's my fiancé. We're marrying in 2 months." "No," Lily screamed, throwing a pillow at her. "You can't marry him. I've liked him since the first time you brought him here 3 years ago. I'm more suitable. I'm younger, prettier. I need him more." "Watch your mouth," Emily snapped, standing up. "Do you hear yourself?" Suddenly, Lily ran to the kitchen. Emily and Margaret followed in terror. Lily grabbed a fruit knife and pressed it to her wrist. "Stop!" Margaret screamed, collapsing at her feet. "If you marry Daniel, I'll kill myself. I can't live watching you be happy while I suffer." Margaret sobbed, clutching Lily's legs. "Emily, do something. Tell her you won't marry him." Emily stood frozen. That night, her world didn't collapse because of the knife, but because of her mother's demand. Later, Lily was locked in her room, still sobbing after Margaret calmed her with empty promises. Only Emily and Margaret remained. "Drink some tea," Margaret said shakily. Emily didn't move. "Mom, you realize she's manipulating us, right? She wouldn't actually do it." "But can you guarantee that? If her hand had slipped, would you take responsibility for her death?" "But that's insane. The event is booked. Invitations are being printed. You want me to cancel everything for her obsession?" Margaret sighed and changed tactics. She held Emily's hand, putting on the helpless face she always used when asking for money. "Emily, you're strong, independent, successful. Any man would want you. Losing Daniel isn't the end of your world." "This isn't about finding another man," Emily sobbed. "I love him." "And Lily loves him too," Margaret cut in. "But she's fragile, weak. If she loses him, she could go insane or die. Are you willing to watch that happen?" Emily whispered, broken. "What about me, Mom?" Her eyes hardened. "As the older sister, it's your duty to sacrifice. If you marry him and Lily kills herself on your wedding day, your marriage will be built on her blood. Can you live with that?" The words shattered Emily completely. That night, she didn't sleep. The next morning, with swollen eyes and shaking hands, she typed the message that destroyed her own life. "Daniel, I'm sorry. I don't think we can continue. Please don't ask why, don't look for me, cancel everything. I need time. I'm sorry." She turned off her phone, removed the SIM card, and cried in silence. The days that followed were hell for Emily. She locked herself inside her bedroom, telling her office at the logistics firm that she was down with typhoid. From behind the closed door, she heard the familiar sound of Daniel's motorcycle stopping in front of the house more than once. She heard him knock, she heard him call her name, but every time Daniel came, it was Margaret who went out to meet him. From her dark room, Emily could faintly hear her mother's voice on the porch, telling one lie after another. "Emily doesn't want to see you, Dan. She's confused. She said she's not ready for marriage. Please go home for now." While Emily suffered alone in the darkness of her room, the atmosphere outside changed drastically. The sister who had claimed to be depressed and suicidal, Lily, miraculously recovered within 24 hours of Emily sending the breakup message. Emily could hear Lily humming cheerfully in the living room. She smelled delicious food. Margaret was cooking butter-fried chicken, Lily's favorite. Laughter echoed between the two of them. "Does this dress look good, Mom?" Lily asked one afternoon. "It's beautiful, sweetheart. Blue makes you glow. Daniel will love it," Margaret replied warmly. Emily pressed a pillow over her ears. Her chest ached as if an invisible hand were crushing her heart. Her sacrifice was treated like nothing. Her pain became fuel for their happiness. A week passed. Emily grew thin from barely eating. Her face was pale, but her tears had dried up. The sadness slowly transformed into something else, something cold, hard, and sharp. On Sunday morning, exactly 1 week after she cut herself off from the outside world, Emily felt unbearably thirsty. The water bottle in her room was empty. Weakly, she cracked her bedroom door open. The house seemed quiet. Perhaps her mother and Lily were in the back kitchen. Emily stepped out silently. The cold tile floor sent chills through her bare feet. As she neared the dining area connected to the kitchen, she heard a conversation that froze her in place. "Remember what I told you, Lily," Margaret said in a low but clear voice. "Daniel will definitely come again this afternoon. It's been a week. He'll want answers. This is your golden opportunity." "Yes, Mom, I've been dressed since morning. Do I look pretty?" "Very. When Daniel arrives, you open the door. Put on a sad face. Pretend you're worried about your sister. Say Emily is unstable, often lashes out, maybe even has another man." Emily's blood roared in her ears. She grabbed the wall to keep herself from collapsing. "Got it, Mom," Lily said lightly. "And if he asks why Emily broke up with him, say she was never serious. Say she often complained to you that she was bored with Daniel. Make him hate her. Once a man hates, he needs comfort, and that's where you step in. Be the gentle woman who consoles him. Heartbroken men are easy to conquer." "Wow, Mom, you're so smart," Lily laughed. "Good thing I acted like I wanted to kill myself, otherwise that stubborn Emily would never have given in." The world stopped spinning for Emily. Acted. The word echoed violently in her head. So the hysteria, the knife, the threats, all of it was just a performance. "Yes, you acted well," Margaret chuckled. "And honestly, I didn't want Emily marrying Daniel and leaving anyway. Who would pay your car installments? Who would give me spending money? If Daniel marries you, you'll still live here. Emily can keep working and supporting us until we're old." Emily felt nauseous. Her stomach churned violently. All this time, she thought her mother was just overly protective of Lily. She never imagined she was nothing more than a cash cow. Margaret wasn't protecting Lily because she was weak. They were conspiring together to preserve their comfortable lives by sacrificing Emily's future. Her thirst vanished, replaced by a blazing fire in her chest. But Emily didn't scream. She didn't confront them. Not yet. The intelligent mind she used daily to solve complex logistics problems at work kicked into gear. If she confronted them now, they would deny everything, cry, twist the truth again. She needed more than anger. Suddenly, the sound of a car engine stopped in front of the gate, a sound Emily knew too well. Daniel's black SUV. "That's Daniel," Lily exclaimed, panic mixed with excitement. "Mom, is my lipstick okay?" "It's fine. Go open the door. Remember the script." Emily quietly retreated into her room and locked the door behind her. She stood in front of the mirror, staring at her disheveled reflection. She wiped the remaining tear marks from her cheeks. She took a deep breath. The sorrow on her face vanished, replaced by sharp focus. Today, she would no longer be the sister who always gave in. If they wanted drama, she would give them an ending they would never forget. Daniel sat on the familiar living room sofa, the dark brown synthetic leather couch Emily had bought 2 years ago using her annual bonus. He sat upright, hands clasped over his knees. His face was expressionless, his usual boardroom authority now colder, sharper. Across from him, Lily sat with calculated posture, legs crossed gracefully, her body slightly leaning forward. She wore a light blue knee-length dress, flawless makeup carefully designed to look natural, and a shy smile she had practiced in front of the mirror. Margaret emerged from the kitchen carrying a tray of sweet tea and cookies. "Have a drink, Daniel," she said warmly, as if nothing had happened over the past week. Daniel didn't touch the cup. "Where is Emily, Mrs. Carter?" he asked calmly. "I didn't come here for tea. I came to talk to my fiancé." Margaret's smile thinned briefly before she covered it with a dramatic sigh.
I'm sure she's in her room. I don't think she's mentally ready to see you. Her condition has worsened. Talking to herself, getting angry, crying. I'm afraid she might hurt you." "Yes," Lily added softly. "She's changed so much. Yesterday she even threw away the gifts you gave her. She said she hates you. I was scared." She shuddered dramatically, looking at Daniel for sympathy. Daniel stared at Lily so intently that she blushed, mistaking his gaze for fascination, unaware he was suppressing deep disgust. "So, according to you," Daniel said flatly, "Emily has lost her mind?" "Not lost her mind," Margaret corrected quickly. "She's just under pressure. She's been the family breadwinner for years. Maybe she's afraid of being a wife. It's different from Lily. She's gentle, family-oriented, and very ready for marriage." Margaret signaled Lily with her eyes. Lily nodded and dared to touch the back of Daniel's hand. "If you need someone to talk to, I'm here," she whispered. "I know you must be hurt. We can start fresh." Her fingers slowly moved across his skin. At that exact moment, Emily's bedroom door slammed open. Margaret and Lily jolted in shock. Emily stood there, but not the broken, miserable woman they expected. She had showered. She wore a crisp white work shirt and black slacks, her armor. Her hair was tied neatly in a ponytail. Her face was pale from lack of food, but her eyes burned with fire Margaret had never seen before. "Emily!" Margaret cried in panic. "What are you doing out here? You're sick!" She rushed forward and grabbed Emily's arm, nails digging in. "Go back inside. Don't embarrass me." Emily didn't flinch. She yanked her arm free with a single sharp motion. "Let go, Mom," she said calmly, but her voice shook the room. "I want to hear for myself how you and Lily sell lies and destroy your own daughter." Emily walked into the living room. Lily quickly pulled her hand away from Daniel, her face drained of color. "Daniel," Emily said softly, restraining her emotions, "I'm sorry." Daniel stood up slowly, his tall frame making the room feel smaller. He didn't look at her with anger, but with wounded relief. "Sit here, Emily," he said, pointing to the seat beside him. "I think the real show is just beginning." The room fell into suffocating silence. Margaret stood stiff near the hallway. Lily stared at the floor, clutching her dress. "You really think I'm stupid?" Daniel's voice cut through the air, low, controlled, ice cold. He reached into his jacket pocket and placed his phone on the table. "A week ago, Emily suddenly broke up with me and disappeared. I was confused, angry, but I know her. She doesn't run without reason." He looked directly at Lily, making her feel stripped bare. "Lily, you have a friend named Diana, don't you?" Lily's face turned white. "Why mention Diana?" "Because in this digital age," Daniel said coldly, "nothing stays hidden." He tapped his phone. A voice recording played. Lily's voice filled the room, bright, cheerful, carefree, the complete opposite of the crying girl from a week ago.
"Diana, you won't believe it. My plan worked perfectly. I pretended I was going to kill myself with the kitchen knife. Mom panicked like crazy, and that idiot Emily, she completely caved. She really broke up with Daniel. Honestly, I can't believe it was that easy to manipulate both of them. Now I just have to wait for Daniel to come back, corner him a little, and that's it. I'll be Mrs. Daniel Moore very soon." Lily's laughter echoed at the end of the recording, filling the silent living room like poison. Emily closed her eyes. Even though she had already overheard the confession in the kitchen earlier, hearing it again through the recording still felt like being stabbed repeatedly. Her sister, the little girl she once carried, fed, paid through college, was laughing so casually at her suffering. Margaret stared at Lily in horror, not because of Lily's cruelty, but because of her stupidity in leaving evidence. "Lily, who did you send that to?" Margaret whispered. Daniel calmly stopped the recording. "Diana turns out to be a distant cousin of my office secretary," he said evenly. "The world is smaller than you think. Once I started digging, the information came to me on its own." He turned his gaze to Margaret. "I'm deeply disappointed. I truly thought you loved Emily. But to you, she's nothing more than a commodity, an asset, something to be replaced if damaged, or discarded if it gets in the way of another asset." That's a misunderstanding, Daniel," Margaret stammered. Cold sweat rolled down her temples. "Lily was just joking with her friend. Young people talk like that. I did all this for Emily's own good. She's stressed." "That's enough," Daniel cut in sharply. "Stop insulting my intelligence." He turned to Emily, sitting beside him, and noticed her trembling hands resting on her lap. Without hesitation, Daniel reached for her hand and held it tightly, grounding her with warmth and strength. "You think I'm some object you can pass around?" Daniel said, his voice rising for the first time. "You think just because Emily stepped back, I'd automatically choose Lily? You think I'm a cheap man with no standards?" Lily began to cry, this time out of fear. "Daniel, I love you," she sobbed. "I did all of this because I love you." "That is not love," Daniel snapped. "It's obsession, and it's a sickness. You destroyed your own sister's happiness for your ego, and you think I'd ever marry someone with a rotten heart like yours?" The words struck Lily harder than any slap ever could. She wailed, covering her face. "And you," Daniel continued, pointing directly at Margaret, an incredibly disrespectful gesture, but one she fully deserved. "You are the mastermind behind all of this. You allowed it, you facilitated it, you forced Emily to sacrifice herself using mental health as a shield. But the only thing truly sick here is your conscience." Margaret snapped. Her survival instinct kicked in. The pitiful expression vanished, replaced by anger and humiliation. "You have no right to talk to me like that. I'm her mother." Then she turned to Emily. "And you just sit there while your boyfriend insults your own mother. Where is your respect? You let him humiliate your sister until she cries?" Emily slowly lifted her face. Her eyes were dry. There were no tears left. She looked at her mother as if she were a stranger. "You humiliated yourself," Emily said coldly. "What did you say?" Margaret stepped forward, hand raised, an old habit whenever Emily talked back. But the hand froze mid-air. Daniel was already standing, gripping Margaret's wrist tightly before it could touch Emily's face. "Don't ever touch her again," Daniel growled. "If you hurt Emily even one more inch, I will make sure you regret it for the rest of your life. I can make your lives far more difficult than a broken engagement." He released her wrist. Margaret stumbled backward and collapsed onto the sofa beside Lily, who was still sobbing. Daniel straightened his jacket and looked down at Lily. "Listen carefully," he said firmly. "Even if Emily rejected me, even if she married someone else, even if I stayed single for the rest of my life, I would never, ever look at you. To me, you are nothing more than a spoiled, malicious child, so stop dreaming." Lily let out a long, anguished scream. The rejection was absolute, final, and witnessed by the sister she had betrayed. Margaret realized her plan to push Lily toward Daniel had completely failed. She played her last card. "Fine, if you don't want Lily, so be it, but Emily is still my daughter. She still owes her mother." She glared at Emily. "Daniel, take her if you want, but remember this, Emily. If you leave this house today with the man who humiliated your mother, don't ever come back. I'll erase you from this family. Ungrateful child." Emily stood up slowly. She looked around the living room, the walls she had painted herself, the TV she bought, the carpet she chose. Everything here was paid for by her sweat, but this was not her home. She turned to Daniel. "Wait in the car, please." Daniel frowned. "I'll stay." "No, I need 5 minutes," Emily said gently but firmly. Daniel searched her eyes for doubt, but found only resolve. He nodded. "I'll wait by the gate. If I hear screaming, I'm coming in."
He shot Margaret and Lily a final cold glance before leaving. After Daniel left, the air grew heavy. Margaret struggled to catch her breath. Lily sat silently, staring at the floor with hatred in her eyes. Emily stood tall in the center of the room, no longer afraid. The respect and fear she once had for her mother had evaporated, replaced by deep pity. "Are you satisfied now, Mom?" Emily asked quietly. "You ruined everything," Margaret snapped. "If you just stayed in your room, Daniel might have fallen for Lily." Emily smiled bitterly. "I'm jealous," she said calmly. "I worked non-stop since graduating high school. Lily got to attend an expensive private college. I never bought new clothes so I could buy her skin pair. I postponed my marriage for 2 years waiting for her graduation." "That was your duty as an older sister," Margaret argued. "No," Emily cut in firmly. "That was a choice. I chose to do all that because I loved you, because I thought we were family. But today I realized I'm not your family. I'm just an ATM. Watch your mouth. I heard your conversation in the kitchen this morning. I heard you laughing. I heard your plan to make Daniel hate me. I heard you say it was better for me to keep working and supporting you than to get married." Margaret's face went pale. "So thank you, Mom," Emily said, her voice breaking but steady. "You opened my eyes. I thought if I was obedient, you'd love me the way you love Lily. But now I know you never will." Emily walked toward her bedroom. "What are you doing?" Margaret panicked. "Packing your things?" "I'm leaving. If you leave, don't take a single dollar from this house. Don't take the car. It's family property," Margaret screamed. Emily paused. "The car is under my name, Mom. I've been paying the installments. But don't worry, I'll leave it for Lily so she can keep up appearances. Just remember, there are still 3 years left on the payments." Emily went into her room, slammed the door, and locked it. Inside, she moved fast. One large suitcase, her diploma, important documents, jewelry from her late father, her work laptop, a few clothes. She looked around the room, the silent witness to her tears for the past week. She picked up a framed photo from the nightstand, herself, her mother, and Lily at Lily's graduation, all smiling. Emily placed the frame face down. She didn't need false memories anymore. 15 minutes later, Emily emerged, dragging her suitcase. Margaret stood at the front door, arms spread wide, anger mixed with fear of losing her source of income. "You can't leave. Are you abandoning your mother? Where is your conscience? Who will pay the electricity? Who will give me money?" Emily looked at her flatly. "Lily is here, Mom. She's pretty, smart, family-oriented. She'll figure it out. Either a job or a rich husband." "Move," Emily said quietly. "No, I don't bless this," Margaret screamed. "If you walk out that door, your life will be cursed. That man will leave you." Those words once terrified Emily. Now they sounded empty. "If suffering is the price of freedom from this poison, I accept it." She didn't push her mother. She simply stepped forward, unflinching. Margaret, unused to seeing Emily stand her ground, unconsciously lowered her arms and stepped aside. Emily opened the front door. Fresh air hit her face. By the gate, Daniel stood leaning against his car, alert. When he saw Emily emerge with her suitcase, his shoulders dropped in relief. He hurried over, taking the suitcase from her hands. "Let's go," he whispered. Emily nodded. She turned once more towards the porch. Margaret stood there screaming her name, playing the victim one last time for the neighbors. Lily was nowhere to be seen. Emily pulled the house keys and car keys from her bag and placed them on a flower pot by the door. "Goodbye, Mom. Take care," she said softly, more for herself than anyone else. Emily turned away, linked her arm with Daniel, and walked out the gate without looking back. They got into the car. Daniel started the engine. Cool air filled the cabin as Emily's body trembled. Daniel didn't drive yet. He turned to her. "Are you okay?"
Emily took a long, deep breath, filling lungs that had been suffocating for far too long. She leaned her head back against the car seat. "It hurts, Daniel. It really hurts," Emily said honestly. Tears rolled down her cheeks one by one. "But I feel relieved." Daniel gave a small, proud smile. He kissed her forehead, then held her left hand while steering with his right. "We'll face it together. For now, let's go find some good food. You're way too skinny," Daniel said. The black SUV drove slowly away, leaving behind the house filled with bitter memories. In the rearview mirror, Emily watched the house shrink until it disappeared around the corner. She closed her eyes. The first chapter of her life, one filled with blind devotion, had ended. Now it was time to write a new chapter, a chapter where she was the main character of her own life, not a supporting role in her mother's drama. In the distance, the sky cleared after a full day of rain. Morning sunlight streamed through the curtains of a 12th-floor studio apartment in downtown Seattle, USA. Emily stirred awake and reached out to the other side of the bed. Empty. Of course, it was just her now. Yet there was a strange feeling in her chest. Lightness. No pounding on the door demanding breakfast. No Lily yelling because she lost her toner bottle. The silence felt luxurious. 2 weeks had passed since Emily walked out of her mother's house. At Daniel's insistence, she rented a studio apartment close to her office. At first, she protested. The rent wasn't cheap, but Daniel was firm. "Your safety comes first, Em. This place has controlled access. Your mom and Lily can't just barge in." Emily brewed coffee and sat on the small balcony. She opened her mobile banking app and smiled faintly. Today was the 25th, payday. Normally, her account would already be drained by now. Monthly transfers to her mother for groceries, allowance for Lily's spending, electricity bills for the family house, always high because Lily kept the AC running 24/7, car installments for the yellow Honda Jazz Lily used. Emily usually left herself barely $70 for the entire month, but today the balance was still intact. "So I'm actually rich," Emily murmured softly, half laughing, half on the verge of tears. Only now did she realize how much of her income had been swallowed by her family. Her phone rang, a video call from Daniel. "Good morning, my future wife." "Morning," Emily replied. Daniel looked fresh, clearly just back from jogging. "How did you sleep? Any nightmares?" "No, I slept really well, no dreams at all." "Good. Today's your wedding dress fitting. Noon, okay?" "Okay." "Oh, Em," Daniel added, "the security guard at your mom's neighborhood called me last night. He said a debt collector came by yesterday afternoon." Emily's heart fluttered briefly. Her old instinct to help surfaced for a second, but she pushed it away. She remembered Lily's recorded confession, her mother's manipulative face. "That's their problem," she said calmly. "The car loan is under my name, but the car's with them. I sent a power of attorney letter to the leasing company last week. If they don't pay, I want the car repossessed. I'm done paying." Daniel smiled proudly on the screen. "Good. Sometimes you have to be ruthless so people learn. See you at noon, love." Emily ended the call and took another sip of coffee. Bitter, but satisfying. For the first time, she felt like a free human being. Across town, chaos reigned in Margaret Carter's house. "Mom, the electric token keeps beeping. It's so annoying," Lily screamed from her bedroom. Margaret, staring at a pile of unpaid bills on the dining table, massaged her temples. "Then top it up, Lily. You still had money left from selling those pre-owned bags, didn't you?" Lily stormed out wearing the thinnest house dress. Her handheld fan was blowing directly at her face. The AC was dead. "The electricity is zero. I'm broke. Yesterday I spent it all on beauty treatments. My face looks dull because I'm stressed thinking about Daniel." "Oh my God, Lily, we're in a crisis," Margaret snapped. Since Emily left, the cash flow had completely stopped. Margaret had tried calling Emily hundreds of times,
Blocked. She went to Emily's office, but the receptionist refused entry per Emily's instructions. Security escorted her out after she caused a scene in the lobby. "This is your fault," Lily shot back. "If you hadn't let Emily leave, we'd still be living comfortably. And you were the one who bragged about cutting her off. Turns out she's happier free." "You're the one who messed up by leaving that voice recording," Margaret hissed. If not for that, Daniel would still be fooled. Their argument was cut short by loud pounding on the front gate. "Mrs. Carter, please come out." Both women froze. "That's a debt collector," Lily whispered in terror. "It's about the car. Mom, don't give it to them. How am I supposed to hang out without a car?" "You deal with it," Margaret shoved her. "Tell them Emily will pay." "No way! They're scary." Finally, Margaret gathered her courage and went outside. Two muscular men in leather jackets stood by the gate. "Mrs. Carter, we're from North Star Leasing. According to our records, the Honda Jazz registered under Miss Emily Carter is overdue. The contract holder has voluntarily requested vehicle repossession." "What? Voluntarily?" Margaret gasped. "Yes, ma'am. Miss Carter authorized it. Where are the keys?" Lily ran out screaming hysterically. "No, that's my car! Don't take it!" "Ma'am, please cooperate," one man said firmly. "Otherwise, we'll involve the police for asset misappropriation." An hour later, Margaret and Lily could only stare blankly as the beloved yellow Honda Jazz was towed away. Neighbors gathered, whispering and sneering. The family once admired because of Emily's success now revealed its true decay. That night, they shared instant noodles by candlelight, the electricity completely cut off. "This is all Emily's fault," Lily hissed in the darkness, her eyes burning with resentment. "She thinks she can live peacefully after ruining me? Just watch." She grabbed her phone, the only luxury item she hadn't sold. Battery, 15%. She opened TikTok and X. Her fingers flew, typing a fabricated story. The headline appeared clearly on Emily's computer screen. Her coworker, Cynthia, was the first to alert her. "Em, you need to see this. It's blowing up on social media. That's you in the photo, right?" Emily stared, hands shaking. Her blurred photo and Daniel's. An anonymous account named Justice for Elle posted a horrifying story. "I have an older sister, initials E. She's always been ambitious. I, L, dated a guy, D, for 2 years, but secretly, E liked him. Because E earns more, she tempted D with money. When I found out, I became depressed and almost took my life. Instead of apologizing, E kicked me and our heartsick mother out of our family home. Now she lives luxuriously in an apartment with D, while we struggle to eat. My car was taken because she forged legal documents. Evil, right?" The post went viral, thousands of likes, hundreds of retweets, comments full of abuse. "She's disgusting, sleeping with her sister's boyfriend? Expose her workplace. Stay strong, little sister. That guy's trash too." Emily felt nauseous. The lies were vicious, twisted 180 degrees. Worst of all, Lily used her mother's heart disease as a shield. In reality, Margaret only had high cholesterol from too much fried food. "This isn't true, right?" Cynthia asked carefully. Emily shook her head weakly. "It's all lies, every word of it." Her phone buzzed non-stop. Instagram DMs flooded with insults. Emails reached HR demanding her termination for moral misconduct. Emily ran to the restroom, locked the door, and cried. She thought silence and distance would make Lily stop. She was wrong. Silence was taken as weakness. Her phone vibrated again. Daniel Moore. She hesitated before answering. "Hello?" "Emily, don't read the comments," Daniel said firmly, yet gently. "I've seen everything. Stay off social media." "I'm sorry. Your name's getting dragged into this. HR might call me." "Listen to me," Daniel cut in. "I'm on my way to my family lawyer's office. My parents already know." Emily's heart dropped. They know? They must be ashamed of me. Maybe we should cancel everything. Don't be ridiculous, Daniel snapped, panic edging his voice. My mom is furious, but not at you. She's furious at your sister. They want to meet you tonight. Dinner at home. You have to come. We'll handle this the elegant way. Stop crying. You did nothing wrong. That night, Emily felt like she was walking towards a gallows as she entered the grand Moore family residence. The classical mansion was intimidating. Emily wore a simple pastel dress.
We know who Daniel is, and Daniel has told us everything about who you are and who your family is. We trust Daniel. Mr. Moore, a man who was usually quiet, cleared his throat. I've instructed our company's legal team to track the account. The IP address was traced to a cell phone located near your mother's house. The voice recording Daniel has is already secured. We can report your sister under federal defamation and cyber harassment laws. The sentence can be up to 4 years in prison. Emily gasped. Prison is the last option if she refuses to stop, Daniel said calmly. But for now, we'll launch a counterattack, subtle but lethal. What do you mean? Emily asked. Tomorrow is the annual charity gala of the Moore Family Foundation, Mrs. Moore explained. It's usually a closed event, but tomorrow we'll invite the media. We'll officially introduce you as Daniel's fiancé. We'll show the world that the Moore family stands behind Emily Carter. The next day, the plan was executed flawlessly. Emily was styled by a renowned stylist. She wore a stunning, modern ivory gown, elegant and powerful, standing beside a handsome Daniel, in front of dozens of entertainment journalists and Seattle's social elite. Mrs. Moore held Emily's hand. Allow me to introduce Emily Carter, she said into the microphone with a warm smile. My future daughter-in-law, a strong, intelligent, independent woman who has unfortunately been taken advantage of by people driven by jealousy. The sentence was smooth, refined, and devastating. The media caught the signal instantly. That evening, the narrative shifted. Photos of Emily standing gracefully with the Moore family flooded the internet. Gossip accounts began dissecting inconsistencies in the Justice for Elle story. Sharp-eyed netizens uncovered Lily Carter's digital footprint, luxury vacations, designer bags, lavish spending, completely contradicting her narrative of poverty and abuse. Public opinion turned. Lily, once pitied, was now criticized as a manipulative younger sister. That night, Daniel sent Emily a message. One enemy down. One step closer to our wedding. 2 weeks before the wedding, the situation had calmed. Lily's social media accounts disappeared, deactivated out of fear, after Mr. Moore's lawyers sent a formal cease and desist letter to Margaret Carter's house. Emily and Daniel sat in the living room of Emily's apartment, surrounded by stacks of printed wedding invitations. There's only one invitation left, Emily said softly, holding a gold-embossed envelope with trembling hands. For your mother? Daniel asked. Are you sure? Emily exhaled slowly. No matter what, she's still my mother. I don't want to truly become a daughter who marries without parental presence. I want her to see me happy. I want her to see that without her, I can still stand tall. Daniel nodded. And Lily? Emily's expression hardened. No. Emily picked up a pen. Inside Margaret Carter's invitation, she slipped in an extra handwritten card, written in red ink. For Margaret Carter. Emily invites you to attend her wedding day. Emily has forgiven you, but forgiveness does not erase conditions. You must attend alone. Lily Carter is strictly forbidden from entering. Security will check the guest list. If Lily is seen within 100 meters of the venue, the police will act immediately based on the prior legal notice. Do not cause any disturbance.
This is your final chance to be a mother to Emily." Emily sealed the envelope and called an express courier immediately. That afternoon, in Margaret Carter's increasingly bleak house, the electricity was back on, paid by Lily selling the last gold necklace inherited from their grandmother, but the atmosphere remained dark. The courier arrived with the luxurious invitation. Margaret opened it with shaking hands. Emily and Daniel's names were embossed in elegant gold lettering, painfully contrasting with their current poverty. As she read the small card, she began to cry, not tears of sadness, but of regret and shame. She realized she had lost. Emily now held all the power. "What's that?" Lily snapped, snatching the invitation from her mother. Her eyes widened as she read. "Lily Carter is forbidden to attend." "How dare she?" Lily screamed, ripping the card apart. "She banned me from my own sister's wedding?" "Enough, Lily," Margaret sobbed. "We've lost. Mr. Moore threatened prison if you cause more trouble. I want to go. I want to apologize to Emily. Maybe she'll help us financially again if I'm nice to her." Lily stared at her mother in disgust. "You're just like her, weak and greedy." She ran to her room and slammed the door. Inside the suffocating room, Lily paced like a caged animal. Her jealousy had mutated into madness. She watched Emily smiling happily in online news articles. She saw Daniel, rich, handsome, protecting her. "I'm not invited," Lily muttered, then laughed softly, a terrifying laugh. "Fine, if I can't enter as a guest, I'll enter as a nightmare." She opened her drawer. Inside was a small bottle of clear liquid, industrial-strength floor cleaner, and a pair of sharp scissors. "Just wait, Emily," she whispered. "That wedding dress won't stay white. It'll be red or black." This time, it wasn't manipulation or fake suicide threats. She intended to physically destroy the wedding day. She didn't care about prison anymore. If she couldn't be happy, Emily wouldn't be either. One day before the wedding, a luxurious wedding venue in downtown Seattle buzzed with activity. Vendors carried fresh flowers, installed crystal lighting, and tested sound systems. Inside a locked VIP room, secured by keycard access, hung Emily's wedding dress, designed by a world-class designer worth nearly a year of Emily's salary, a special gift from Mrs. Moore. A woman in a janitorial uniform pushed a cleaning cart down a quiet hallway. Her head was lowered, a medical mask covered half her face, a cap was pulled low. It was Lily. Her heart pounded, not from fear, but from adrenaline-fueled hatred. In her pocket, sharp fabric scissors and the corrosive liquid. "Just wait, sis," she smirked behind her mask. "You'll cry blood when you see your dress burned and stinking of chemicals." She knew the security shift changed at 11 a.m. She had a 10-minute window. With trembling hands, she pulled out a fake access card, stolen earlier from a real janitor's pocket. Beep. Green light. The door opened. The room was cold and fragrant with jasmine. In the center stood a mannequin dressed in a long-tailed white gown adorned with Swarovski crystals. Beautiful. So beautiful it made Lily nauseous with envy. "You're dead," she hissed. She opened the bottle. A sharp chemical stench filled the air. She raised it toward the bodice of the gown. "Enough, Lily," the deep voice thundered from the dark corner. Lily screamed in shock. The bottle slipped from her hand, crashing onto the carpet. The corrosive liquid hissed as it burned through the expensive flooring, but not a single drop touched the gown. The lights snapped on. Daniel stood there, arms crossed. Behind him were 2 large security guards and Emily. Lily staggered backward. Her face was pale beneath the slipping mask. "Daniel, Emily, how are you here?" she stammered. Emily stepped forward, staring at her sister with a look that mixed disgust and deep pity. "Daniel knew you'd go this far," Emily said calmly. "We set the trap. That access card, we left it there on purpose. We've been watching you on CCTV since you entered the back gate." "You set me up!" Lily screamed hysterically. She reached into her pocket and pulled out the scissors. "Don't move!" a guard barked, instantly restraining her arms. The scissors fell to the floor. Lily thrashed wildly, screaming like a possessed person. "Let me go! I want to destroy that dress with chemicals. I won't accept her happiness. I should have married Daniel. I'm younger, I'm prettier." Her saliva dripped. Her eyes were wild. Emily stared in shock. The little sister she once carried after a bike fall had become a monster consumed by envy. "Take her to security. Call the police," Daniel ordered coldly. "Emily, help me! You're really sending your own sister to prison?" Lily screamed as she was dragged away. Emily turned her face away. "I stopped being your sister the moment you tried to destroy my wedding dress with chemicals, Lily." 1 hour later, Margaret Carter arrived at the local police station, frantic.
Lily Carter was sitting curled up on the floor, laughing to herself while repeatedly whispering Daniel's name. Margaret Carter rushed toward her eldest daughter and immediately knelt at Emily Carter's feet. "Emily, withdraw the police report. Your sister lost control. Please don't send her to prison. Think of her future." Emily did not pull her leg away, but she also did not help her mother stand. She let Margaret remain kneeling. "Lily's future was destroyed the moment you let her believe she could have everything without effort," Emily said flatly. "I was wrong. I'm sorry," Margaret sobbed. "But please don't let her go to jail. I would die if Lily were imprisoned." Daniel answered calmly but firmly. "Ma'am, Lily brought industrial-grade floor acid and scissors. If we hadn't been there, she wouldn't just have destroyed the wedding dress. She could have injured staff or attacked Emily during the ceremony. Do you want to wait until Emily is blind or dead before realizing Lily is dangerous?" Margaret fell silent, stunned. She turned toward the holding cell. Lily looked at her mother through the iron bars and smiled crookedly. "Mom, tell Daniel I'm ready to get married. I already prepared the wedding dress. In my dreams." Margaret's spine chilled. Only then did she realize Lily's eyes were no longer sane. "She needs medical help," Emily said quietly, "not to be spoiled at home." "We will proceed legally," Emily continued. "The judge will decide whether she goes to prison or to a psychiatric hospital, but one thing is certain, she will not be coming home anytime soon." "Emily, how can you be so cruel?" Margaret whispered. Emily lowered her gaze and met her mother's tearful eyes. "I'm doing this to save what little sanity remains, and to protect you. If Lily were free, she would keep draining you, selling your belongings, and one day she might hurt you when you refuse her demands." Margaret collapsed onto the police station floor. Memories flooded her mind. Every time Lily was wrong, she defended her. Every time Emily gave in, she praised her. She had raised the monster with her own hands. "Go home, Mom," Emily said gently but firmly. "Tomorrow is my wedding. If you still consider me your daughter, come. If not, I understand." Daniel helped Margaret up and guided her out. The woman walked away slowly, as if she had aged 10 years in a single hour. The wedding day. The long-awaited day arrived. A 5-star hotel ballroom in Seattle, USA, was transformed into a heavenly garden. White roses and baby's breath filled every corner. Soft orchestral music flowed through the air. Guests included Daniel's business partners, Emily's colleagues, and members of the Moore family. At the altar, Emily stood gracefully in the white gown that had nearly been destroyed. She looked like a queen. Daniel stood beside her in a black tuxedo, gazing at her with unwavering devotion. The marriage ceremony that morning was solemn and emotional.
Emily asked permission from her guardian, her uncle on her late father's side, choosing not to trust her mother as her primary witness. Many guests wiped their tears. During the reception, Emily scanned the room. She found the figure she was looking for. At the far corner table sat Margaret Carter, alone, wearing an old but neatly pressed dress. She kept her head down, clutching a handkerchief. She watched the Moore family, Daniel's parents, laughing warmly, greeting guests, occasionally embracing Emily and adjusting the train of her gown. Those were roles that should have been hers. Shame crushed Margaret's chest. Emily was radiant, deeply loved by these new people. The daughter she had neglected, exploited, and sacrificed had been a diamond she herself had thrown into the mud. A waiter approached. "Would you like a drink, ma'am?" "Thank you," Margaret murmured. "Are you family of the bride?" the waiter asked politely. She choked. She wanted to shout proudly, "I'm her mother," but she knew she didn't deserve it. "I'm a distant relative," she answered softly. At the altar, Emily saw her mother. "Mom came," she whispered to Daniel. He nodded. "Should we go to her?" "Not yet," Emily said quietly. "Let her watch from afar. Let her see what she almost destroyed." That night, Margaret watched her eldest daughter dance, laugh, and glow, without Lily, without chaos. She realized this was her greatest punishment, to be a stranger witnessing her child's happiness. After the wedding. 2 days later, Emily and Daniel stopped by Margaret's house before leaving for their European honeymoon. The house felt empty and bleak without Lily's spoiled chatter and without the electronics that had all been sold. Margaret welcomed them awkwardly, offering only plain water. "Lily has been transferred to a government psychiatric rehabilitation facility," Daniel said bluntly. The psychiatrist diagnosed her with acute narcissistic personality disorder and major depressive disorder with psychotic tendencies. She won't be imprisoned, but she must undergo treatment for at least 6 months to a year. No visits for the first month. Margaret nodded weakly, tears pooling. Emily placed a brown envelope on the table. "Mom," she said. Margaret looked at it hopefully. "There's a debit card inside," Emily explained. "Monthly funds, enough for food, utilities, and medication. Nothing more." Emily's gaze hardened. "If you're sick, tell me. I'll pay the hospital directly. If the house needs repairs, I'll pay the contractor. I will never give you large sums of cash again." "Why, Emily? Don't you trust me?" Margaret asked weakly. "No," Emily replied honestly. "I'm afraid you'll save it for Lily, or buy her luxury items when she gets out. This support is for you alone. If I find even $1 goes to Lily's lifestyle, the card will be blocked immediately." Margaret lowered her head. She had no bargaining power. "One more thing," Daniel added. "This house was still mortgaged, right?" "Emily paid off the mortgage this morning." Margaret's eyes widened. "But the deed is with us," Daniel said. "The house is now fully under Emily's name. You may live here for free for the rest of your life, but you can never sell or mortgage it again for Lily." Margaret finally understood. They secured her life, while cutting off every path for her to repeat the same mistakes. "Thank you, Emily." "Daniel," Margaret whispered. Emily stood and briefly kissed the back of her mother's hand. No embrace followed. As Emily walked out, Margaret called softly, "Emily, forgive me." Emily stopped at the door, but did not turn around. "You're forgiven, Mom, but wounds are like nails pulled from wood. The hole always remains." Epilogue. Laughter of a baby filled Emily and Daniel's peaceful new home. Their 2-month-old son was cradled by Daniel's mother, while Daniel recorded proudly. Emily entered carrying a tray of fruit. She looked radiant, fulfilled, promoted to logistics manager, with a loving husband and in-laws. Her dark past felt like a distant nightmare. Meanwhile, at a government rehabilitation center, a thin young woman with roughly cropped hair swept the yard under the burning sun. Lily Carter. No skincare, no air conditioning, no phone. She had been declared clinically stable, but was sentenced to social rehabilitation work. Here, no one cared about her tantrums.
At night, Lily sometimes cried, missing her old bed, missing the sister who once protected her. But that door was forever closed. Back at the old house, Margaret sat alone on the porch. Money arrived monthly, food was sufficient, the house was intact, but her heart was empty. Emily called once a month, 2 minutes, cold and formal. "Mom, the money arrived?" "Yes." "Take your medication." "I will." "Okay, stay healthy." Click. Margaret stared at the orange evening sky. "If only time could turn back," she whispered to the wind. But time is the only thing in this world that cannot be negotiated. Karma had done its work perfectly, placing everyone exactly where they deserved to be.